Our first activity today is the big reveal. So it's a warm-up activity, and I'm going to uncover 5 different clues that all relate to a well-known business. All you need to do is to identify the name of the business in the fewest number of clues. The clues will get progressively easier, so hopefully by the time I have uncovered clue number 5, you will have successfully identified the name of the business. So clue number 1 is, the business was founded in 1899 in Bradford as an egg and butter merchant. Clue number 2, the business prioritises fresh, locally sourced produce and food preparation and has its own butchers, fishmongers and bakers in stores. Clue number 3. In August 2024, the business announced that it would cut back on the number of self-service tills in its stores in favour of manned tills. Clue number 4. In 2023, the business revived its slogan of more reasons to shop at. And finally, if you need it, the last clue is, based on market share, it is the 5th largest supermarket chain in the UK, with Aldi overtaking it to claim the number 4 spot in September 2022. And the business is Morrisons. So well done if you did successfully identify that supermarket chain. We'll first of all start off by completing a series of multiple choice questions that all link to theme 2. So the first question is a 1-mark multiple choice question. So the question is, which one of the following is a method of product differentiation? Is it A, branding, B, customer loyalty, C, higher sales, or D, higher prices can be charged? So the answer is A. So well done if you selected A. Now this question is focusing on a method, so how a business could differentiate or make its products different from its rivals. So branding is one way that a business can achieve this. Another way is through a business creating a unique selling point. Now options B, C and D are all benefits to a business of successfully differentiating its products. So this question highlights how you must read each question carefully to ensure that you are focusing on the demands of the question exactly. So that means you'll be able to select, hopefully, the correct answer. The next multiple choice question is requiring you to select 2 answers. In the real exam papers, in each paper you will see 2 2-mark multiple choice questions, but you'll have 5 options to choose from. In this question, you've just got 4. So the question is, which 2 of the following are stages of the sales process? Is it A, product knowledge, B, maturity, C, responses to customer feedback, or D, growth? So hopefully you've identified that the correct answers are A and C. So well done if you did select those 2 letters. So product knowledge, responses to customer feedback, as well as post-sale service, speed and efficiency of service, and customer engagement are all stages of the sales process. And the sales process has featured as a give question, which is the first question that can appear at the start of section C, so it's a 1 mark question, and the same question appeared in 2019 as in 2023, so it's give one stage of the sales process. And in a question such as this, you must be very careful with your terminology. You need to be using the exact vocabulary that is mentioned in the specification, because that will help to guarantee that you're going to gain the mark available. Options B and D here all relate to the product life cycle, and students often confuse the sales process with the product life cycle. So remember, the 4 different stages of the product life cycle are introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. Our next 3 multiple choice questions are in a slightly different style to what you will see in your actual exam papers. Each of these multiple choice questions will require you to read 2 statements and to decide whether each statement is true or false. Once you've made those decisions, you marry up your answers with either letter A, B, C, or D. Now, despite this style of question not appearing in your paper, they are very, very useful in terms of challenging or assessing your understanding of different topic areas from the course content. So let's have a look at statement 1. The design mix is made up of 3 elements: aesthetics, function, and price. Statement 2, place in the marketing mix, relates to the location decisions of a business. So reread each of those statements, pause the video if you need to, and then once you've decided whether each statement is true or false, then decide on the letter that you think represents the correct answer. And the answer is, of course, D. So both statements are actually false. So let's take a look at each one. The design mix is made up of 3 elements. That part is true. And aesthetics, the way that the product looks, the function, how well the product actually does the job it is intended for, are both correct. However, price is incorrect, and the third factor of the design mix is actually cost. In terms of statement 2, place in the marketing mix does not relate to the location decision of a business. Location is a different part of the specification which comes under theme 1. Place in the marketing mix actually links to the channels of distribution, how the product gets from the producer or the manufacturer to the consumer. This may be through a retailer or an e-tailer. Now, just a quick word before we move on to the next question. Remember, the marketing mix is featured heavily in theme 2, but it's also featured in theme 1, and that means you may see a question on the marketing mix in paper 1 as well as paper 2. So question 4, remember, it's 2 statements. You need to read each statement and decide whether each is true or false first of all. So statement 1, Bargate stock graphs show the sales of a product over a period of time. Statement 2, the minimum amount of stock held by a business is called the buffer stock. So both statements are focusing on stock control and Bargate stock graphs. Once you've made your decisions about whether each statement is true or false, decide on the letter that corresponds with your answers. And the answer is, of course, C. So well done if you did select C. So we know for statement 2, the minimum amount of stock held is called the buffer stock. But statement 1, a Bargate stock graph actually shows the stock levels of a product over a period of time. Students often confuse this with sales. It is a common misconception. So remember, as the name suggests, Bargate stock graphs shows stock levels. Question 5 focuses on production methods. So same principle as with the last 2 questions. So statement 1, Job production involves producing one-off items to meet specific customer needs and wants. So decide whether that is true or false. And statement 2, flow production involves producing identical products that move continuously along an automated production line. So again, decide if this statement is true or false. Once you've made those decisions, decide on the letter that corresponds with your answers. Hopefully this question is quite straightforward if you've revised your production methods, and the answer is A. So well done if you did select A. Job production is one-off production, so one-off items that match specific customer needs. Flow production is where products are produced continuously on an automated production line. The other type of production method that you need to know for your GCSE is batch production, where groups of products, groups of identical products are produced at one time before machinery or something in the production process may be changed or needs to be changed in order for the next group of products to be produced. For example, producing brown rolls and then granary rolls and then white rolls is a classic example of batch production. Our next activity is our first calculation countdown question, and this question is going to be focusing specifically on the quantitative skill of percentage changes, or in this case percentage increases. Percentage changes alongside averages and percentages are three of the quantitative skills listed in your specification but do not feature in any of the core content under Theme 1 or Theme 2. This means that it's very important that you revise these mathematical concepts in light of different business contexts to ensure you gain the marks for the calculate questions should they focus on these quantitative skills. This is often challenging for students. So this question is going to be focusing on practicing the skill of percentage increases. So figure 1 shows the gross and net profit figures for business A across a 3-year period. Using the information provided, calculate the percentage increase in net profit for business A between last year and next year. So this question is requiring you to select the relevant information from the graph and then input that into the percentage change formula in order to successfully calculate the correct answer. So to help you out here, if you're not sure of the formula, it is change over original times 100. So you've got a minute, your time starts now. So that is your minute up. If you need a few more seconds to finish off the calculation, then please pause the video and restart when you're ready, and we'll take a look at the answer on the next slide. Jumping down to the answer line, well done if you successfully calculated 100%. This is exactly what the examiner will do. Go straight to the answer line. If the answer line contains the correct answer, you will automatically gain 2 marks. However, if your answer is incorrect, The examiner will then go back to look at your workings. This is why it is very important that you include full labelled workings within the answer box for each calculate question. So let's take a look how we got to that 100%. So looking at the net profit for last year, we can see that is 60,000 and the net profit for next year is 120,000. So make sure you're looking at the axes carefully. We're working in thousands here. And you need to make sure you are choosing the correct type of profit and the correct year. So applying these two figures into the formula, we can see that it's new minus old divided by old times 100. So 120,000 minus 60,000 gives us 60,000. Over 60,000 times 100 gives us 100%. So well done again if you calculated this answer correctly. Our next activity is our definition spinner. On screen you can see 6 key terms that are all taken from theme 2 of the specification. Let's see where the spinner lands. And it's landed on labour productivity. So pause the video now if you'd like to and think about the definition of labour productivity, and when you've come up with your definition, then restart the video. So labour productivity measures output per worker, and it's a term that is often confused with production. Production relates to the quantity of output, whereas productivity is a measure of efficiency. High productivity enables labour costs to be spread across more units, resulting in lower labour costs per unit and therefore lower unit costs. This will give a business more flexibility in pricing or allow a business to enjoy a higher profit margin on each unit sold. So let's go again with our definition spinner. So same key terms again. Let's see where the spinner lands this time. Procurement, so a tricky word here from operations. So pause the video, have a think about what procurement is, and then restart the video when you're ready. So procurement is the process of choosing a supplier which offers the best value for money, agreeing the quality and quantity of products to be bought, and negotiating the terms of a contract, such as payment terms, so whether you're going to pay for the goods right now or in the future. So procurement, logistics are all under the section from the specification that links to suppliers. Please look at those key terms carefully because they are often confused by students because they are difficult to remember. Our next activity is our second calculation countdown question. So this time the quantitative skill that we're focusing on is averages. So you've got a minute in a moment to answer the question that will appear on screen. So figure 2 shows the number of click and collect orders collected each day during 1 week from one branch of a high street retailer. Using the information provided, calculate the average number of orders collected daily from the store during this week. So your minute starts now. that is your minute up. If you need a few more seconds to finalize your workings and the answer, then please take it and then restart the video when you're ready. So jumping down to the answer line, we can see that the answer is in fact 37 orders. So if you completed that question correctly, well done. Looking at the workings very quickly, because it's quite a straightforward question, we just need to work out the total number of orders that have been collected across the week and then divide that by 7. So the orders across the days of the week are 25 plus 35 plus 30 plus 30 plus 40 plus 54 plus 45, which gives a grand total of 259, divided by 7 gives 37 orders. Just remember, with every calculate question, you need to make sure you write your answer on the answer line. Our final activity is our application spinner, and it is absolutely key that in sections B and C of each exam paper, apart from question 1 in section C of paper 2, which is that give or define question, which is just worth 1 mark, that you relate your answers to the context that you've read about in your source booklet. Students often lose lots of marks in exam papers because they do not link their answers specifically to the context provided. You must make sure that as an examiner reads your answer, they know that you have read the context and you have linked your response specifically to that business. And if you have done that, not repeated any context that is included in the question, because that isn't awardable, but selected information from the case study and used it to support a chain of argument or a point that you've made or your judgment, you are going to gain marks for application. So on screen, you can see 6 different businesses that could appear in your exam paper in the summer. Any of these businesses are themed 2 style businesses. Remember, these are larger businesses that may trade internationally, but they also can trade across the UK, so in more than one location. So we have Pizza Express, Google, Audi, Vodafone, Zara and Ferrari. And we are looking at the influences on pricing strategies. So we'll have a look as to where the spinner lands first of all. And it's just crept into Ferrari. So what I'd like you to do is think about, in context of Ferrari, the most important influences on the pricing strategies that they would choose in light of that business. So pause the video, really get to grips with the context. Think about who the target market is for Ferrari. Think about their levels of costs, for example. And then when you've come up with some ideas, then restart the video and we'll take a look at our responses and you can compare them to your own ideas. So we have Ferrari operates in a niche market where there is a limited supply of the cars but high demand from the market segment it targets of high income earners. So you can see the purple text shows that we are using vocabulary, which shows we've been studying business for the last 2 or 3 years, but the green text shows we're linking our understanding of business theory directly to Ferrari. Ferrari charge premium prices to portray an image of exclusivity and luxury, which the target market are prepared to pay for. A new Ferrari starts at around 180,000, so that's a minimum. There is limited competition as the brand prestige of Ferrari, coupled with the limited supply, allows the business to charge premium prices. Ferrari invest heavily in research and development and cutting edge technology. So you can see the purple as I mentioned, is the business theory. They are the knowledge points taken from the specification. So talking about the type of market the business operates in, the competition, the target market, and technology. But we need to make sure in a question that links specifically to a business context, we are twisting, we are relating our business ideas, our knowledge points to that case study, context, business situation specifically in order to gain application marks.